Hi Homeworthy, I'm Michelle Gage. Welcome to our office in Chestnut Hill, Philadelphia. I'm going to show you around.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. If you're looking to make your own space more homeworthy, we've teamed up with Cherish, our go-to online destination for chic, one-of-a-kind finds, sourced from the world's most wonderful vendors.
Mercury drops are from an artist I found on Cherish.
Whether we're after a bold statement piece or the perfect finishing touch, Cherish has extraordinary items that leave a lasting impression.
This table I bought on Cherish from Berlin, and it has a little bit of it's a tray, and it is mid-century, and it's one of my favorite pieces.
It's where we find iconic looks to set homes apart.
I think many dealers would agree that Cherish is the absolute best.
So to support Homeworthy and discover amazing items from Cherish, scan the QR code or click on the link below to start shopping.
Hello Homeworthy, my name is Michelle Gage. I am an interior designer in Chestnut Hill, Philadelphia. We are currently in my studio and I'm excited to tour you around. We moved into our office space in November of 2023, so right around the holidays. We were looking for a space for just a few months at that time, debating whether we stayed in our old space or moved into a new, larger space. There was nothing wrong with our old one, so it was kind of a situation where we had to find something that was absolutely perfect in order to make us move. And fortunately, we found something. It's an old dairy barn. It's got a stone facade and there's ivy growing all over it. It's completely charming. It's right off of the main street of Chestnut Hill, which we love. And we were super excited when we found out that nobody was in here for a few years so that we could take it over. This area is what we call the lounge. I love everything about this space. It's so nice to have a comfortable sofa to work from. In the office, we'll often either have our team meetings here or someone will be over here with a laptop. It's really, really sweet and cozy. I knew that I wanted a really bold sofa. A lot of our designs are really bold and fun and exciting, so a boring sofa just would not do. So we picked this really bright violet color for the sofa. And the really fun thing about this space is we set up our studio to be a showroom for our clients. So they can come and try out the sofa. They can try out different cushion configurations that we have stored in the back and see, do they like something firmer? Do they like something softer? Do they have a preference for the back cushion versus the seat cushion? And then we have in our sample library hundreds, thousands of options for fabric that they can apply to it. So it's a really fun way for them to try out the piece before they purchase it for their design. We wanted to make sure the space felt as layered and funky and artistic as our designs do. So our office is meant to reflect what we do in our clients' homes. So we have this really fun pillow from Liberty London. It's a really great velvet that just pops against the sofa, which is a solid tone. We have these really amazing striped marble coffee tables that were actually in our last studio space. They feel really special. And underfoot, we have a really fun Annie Selke rug. It's a wool rug. It's really soft and plush, and it's the same thickness that we bring into a lot of our projects. A lot of our homeowners either want something really soft underfoot or they have kids and they need something durable. So that's always great to be able to show how that wears over time. Across from the sofa, we have these two really amazing rounded back navy velvet armchairs. They also came from our last studio, so we had a little bit of a fun challenge of mixing some of the pieces that came from that older, smaller space in with this space, which is much larger, and we wanted it to have a new design personality to it. So we used some of what we had in the old space and then brought in some newer pieces as well. This rattan light fixture, this floor lamp, is really great because I find that most floor lamps are pretty ugly. There's not a great variety of options for good looking floor lamps, but this one I feel like hits the mark. Overhead, we have a really fun floral light fixture from Visual Comfort, which is one of our favorite vendors we use all the time. And then my husband usually has to duck over to this side. We have this really fun Kelly Wearstler lamp atop of a burl chest. We tried to bring in a lot of fabrics, wallpapers, textures, materials that we use in a lot of our projects so that our clients can see what that looks like in a home. Our studio is an office space, but it's set up to feel like a cozy home. So this is the quote unquote living room. So if you've maybe never heard of burl before, but you're interested, when we start to describe it, we can take you out and show you this is what burl looks like. This is the natural variation of the piece. And then this is how, these drawer mechanisms work, and it's a high quality piece. So it's going to last you a good amount of time, or you can hand it down to your children. So we talk about all of those things with clients. We're also really big on artwork. So these pieces I picked up at various flea markets. This one came from Paris. I brought this home a couple years ago on a plane with me. It had its own seat beside me, but I really loved the hand of it. It felt kind of like a Matisse, but it was from a flea market in Paris. And then above, I got these two pieces in New York, and then we incorporated this fun mirror for a little gallery wall moment, again, to just show how we bring color, texture, pattern, art, funk, and fun into our projects. We wanted to make sure that we did that in our studio space as well, because it's enjoyable for us to work here, but also clients can get a taste of what's to come with their designs. This is the second office space that we've had for our firm, and we were super excited because it is a larger space, so we were able to have separate zones. In our old space, we didn't have a separate conference room, and we do here now. We also have a nice lounge living room area where I'm sitting at the moment, which features furniture that we often put in our project. Then we have a really sweet kitchen, which is larger than our previous one. We did a really fun scalloped detailed backsplash for the space, and we have a fun little coffee bar, so our employees don't have to leave to go get coffee. They can have a free drink here. We've tried to set it up to be cozy like a home, but it still functions completely as an office. There's 5 of us here and the occasional dog. Clients come in and out, so we wanted it to feel really cozy and really homey, but also still have the basic office functions that everyone needs to work. So I'm gonna take you guys over to the kitchen now. We have a really sweet space that I'm excited to talk about. Welcome to our kitchen. This is a really exciting space for us because our last studio just kind of had a microwave in the back room, a little bit less of a desirable kitchen area than we have now. So I love this kitchen. We chose the cabinets from one of our go-to vendors because, again, the whole design of this studio space was for our clients to be able to see what we bring into their house. So we have the same level of quality in their house as we do in our studio space, so they can really see how these pieces, products, items wear over time and what they look like. So one thing that we wanted to do to kind of funk up the space was we wanted to do a special design for the backsplash. We brainstormed this for a while and ultimately led to this scalloped detailing, which you'll see in our entryway as well. But this scallop detailing is something that feels really sweet and special, but it has a timeless appeal to it as well. So we did a Caesar stone quartz. Quartz is really durable and low maintenance. So we love it in our designs, especially when there's families involved or just messy homeowners in general. It's just something that you can beat up and not worry about too much. We funked them up with these really fun knobs that are a little bit quirkier than what you would typically find in a kitchen, especially a kitchen of this style, but they are Anthropologie, which is a place that I used to work. So I have long time loved their knobs, and I think that they look really great and different in this small kitchen space. We just have a shelf above. It was already here when we moved in, and we kept it as opposed to closing in this space with upper cabinetry that we just didn't need. We keep plates for lunches and coffee for drinks that we make throughout the day. Our whole team loves using this Breville. It is a purchase that we made last year and has gotten so much use in this space. We make drinks for clients when they come over. We make drinks for ourselves, and it's really nice, especially in the winter months where we don't want to venture out to a coffee shop, to just have it here. The faucet is this really beautiful Callista faucet, which we absolutely love. And then underneath, we hide all of our supplies and dish soap and all of that behind this really pretty block print curtain, which is just a fun way to dress up the space. So it breaks up some of the wood and the green and the black with just a fun little pattern there. So we also have this really fun bistro table, which we are really excited about because our last space just didn't have much of a kitchen. So here we are able to take a lunch break. We're able to grab coffee and start to play with samples. If we're working out a design idea, we're working on a specific project, and our sample library surfaces are absolutely full. So this is a really fun space for our team to gather, grab a coffee, play with some rugs, wallpaper, and fabric. And then overhead, we have this really beautiful vintage chandelier, which I absolutely love, makes me smile every time I walk into the office, and helps to dress up this space, which has some newer elements to it, but then we bring in the old with the lighting. So then in another way to just dress up our kitchen and make it feel funky and like our team and have a little personality, we have this really amazing large print. I believe it is a Vogue shoot from decades ago, but the colors and the pattern and the florals and the chandelier and the age of the home, which I believe this is in Paris, just spoke to us. So it's a really fun piece to fill this otherwise blank wall. Then right outside the kitchen, we have this really fantastic tile wall, which is amazing for our team to be able to see some of our favorite samples on display. A lot of the times our samples have to be kind of hidden away just for clutter control, so they're in bins or baskets. But here we're able to display some of our favorite items. So whether we're starting a design and we're looking for the right color story or the right cabinet detail or countertop material or flooring, we can kind of start here and pick some of our favorites, which become the stars of the space. It's a great way for us to visually see what we have rather than digging through baskets and bins. And then we have some more tile stored in this cabinet here to accent some of these stars in the space. Like this would definitely be a star, and then we maybe will pull some pieces to support it from the drawers. Then next to our tile wall, we also have a great flamingo bust. This came from our last studio. It seems to travel around with us. But again, just trying to add some excitement to our walls. We did keep the walls in this main larger studio space white, so we could play on top of it a little bit more. We are all about maximalism, wallpaper, bold, but in this space where we're working on those bold maximalist designs, we really needed a little bit more of a blank canvas. So we kept the walls white, but then put some dazzle and sparkle on top to have a little fun. Luckily, when we found the space, it was in pretty good condition. It has these really beautiful wide plank floors, which we absolutely loved. There's some fun details, mostly to the exterior, that have incredible charm and character, which we obviously didn't want to touch. But when you get into the space, we needed to infuse our personality a little bit more. So we left the walls white in the workspace because it was going to be a larger open space where we're going to be looking at samples and talking as a team, and we didn't want too much distraction. However, when you go into the conference room and into the powder room, we have really bold and funky wallpapers that speaks back to our signature style. In the kitchen, we also wanted to do something fresh and different, so we played with the colored cabinets in there and a really fun scalloped detail in the backsplash. We added really great lighting, but in terms of renovation, very little was required outside of, the kitchenette situation. So speaking of samples, we have more than what you see here. So we'll head into our sample library where we've got oodles of wallpaper, fabric, rugs, and everything you could imagine to design your home. So this is our sample library. We're obsessed, in heaven. Our other space was just a little bit smaller, and we had the ability to store way fewer samples. So here we can keep anything and everything that speaks to us that we may want to use in a project. We are really big about creating a library that we can pull from as opposed to constantly needing to run out to showrooms. We do that when we need to, but a lot of the times what we're looking for is already in our library because we've curated it to be things that we love. So it's wallpaper that we love, fabric that we love, rugs that we love. Oftentimes we will go to the showrooms and then do a massive order just to have in-house. So we will go visit showrooms in New York and pull fabric and wallpaper and bring them back to our library and have have them for years to come for future projects. We go to High Point Market in North Carolina every year, and that's where we'll come back with a bunch of rug samples. And it's things that we're able to see in person, touch, get a sense of the quality and the colors for our clients, and then bring it back into our library and have it to play with all the other materials. So we have all the rugs we need here to pair with the wallpaper and to pair with the fabric. So it gives us a really great jumping off point for projects. We're often able to start design projects a little bit sooner than other firms because we have everything in our office ready, curated by us, MGI approved, in the sense that like if you come to us for our style, we can whip stuff out pretty quickly because we have been curating our style for years and years, and we do a lot of these trips to make sure that we're constantly bringing in fresh pieces, artisan pieces, colorful pieces, and what is on the precipice of design. Our library is a super love of everyone on the team. It's often much messier than this, especially when we're in design planning. You'll see samples all over the place. We've hidden that a little bit for you guys, but this is where we keep all of the good stuff. So in this cabinet here, or many cabinets, I should say, all of these bins are fabrics organized by vendor. So if we are looking for a specific print or pattern, we might say, oh, you know what, Schumacher has that. I'm gonna go to the Schumacher bin and see what I can find from them. So everything here is MGI approved, essentially. If we've called in a sample and then we get it and we don't love it, we wind up donating those to a local school. So everything just comes in ready to go when we start design projects. So we have stuff from everywhere. We have stuff from bigger names like Schumacher. We have stuff from more artisan, smaller boutique showrooms, and we just collect it all here so that we can play with it. On this side, we've got our wallpaper. So we've found the best way to store our wallpaper are in these magazine files. Still figuring out, the best way to store all of our samples, but this is where we're at right now. We've got hundreds, thousands of wallpaper samples. We're big on wallpaper, and we always like to have options when designing for our clients. We also keep paint binders here so that we have almost every color under the sun that we might want for a project. All kept in one zone, and then you'll often find us playing at this table, pulling wallpapers with the fabrics, with the rugs, with the paint color, and starting to come up with designs for rooms, for homes that we're working on, and just have fun playing with it all. Back here is our tall set of tables where we also have great surface space to work on designs. So a lot of the surfaces in our office, whether it is in our sample library, our conference room, our kitchen, are usually pretty littered with design samples. It's always so much easier to play with it in person than on a computer. We do like a mix of both, and it might start on the computer, but then eventually we've got to get up and see how that wallpaper actually works with that fabric, actually works with that rug, and do we want to do a contrast piping on it? Do we want to add fringe? What would the pillow fabric look like? So playing with that in person is always so much fun for our team. We all get excited when we get to be playful in the sample library. Behind me are all of our rug swatches. We've called these in over the years through visiting High Point Market, showrooms in New York. Basically anywhere we can find a good rug, if they'll give us a sample, we like to keep it in our office because a lot of the times we'll be working on a design, and I know some designers speak about this differently, but we usually pick the rug last. We usually pick the fabric and the wallpaper first, and then it's time to come over to our rug wall, and there may, in this whole mix, only be 2 or 3 rugs that actually work with the wallpaper, fabric, and paint we've chosen. And it's really nice to have them here rather than waiting, as we've called them in, to come, weeks later. It's nice to just be like, oh, you know what? This rug is actually the perfect rug, or this rug works perfectly with what we've already started in the design. When I was a kid, I was always into painting and drawing classes. I did theater. I loved the arts. I was really creative, and I always knew that I wanted to do something like that professionally. I discovered later on that interior design was a career path, which was really awesome because when it came time to go to college and pick a major, I chose that, and I studied at Virginia Tech. I, upon graduation, was looking around at jobs and listings and talking to peers about what they were doing, and a lot of them were moving moving to the DC area and they were doing hospital designs or law firms and things that just felt a little too sterile to me. So I set my sights on Anthropologie's home office, which is in Philadelphia, down in the Navy Yard. I really wanted to learn more about color and pattern and be in the home side of design as opposed to something more corporate. So luckily I had a job there. I started out as an intern. I then moved into the buying world. I was buying the found, so the art, the antiques, the vintage that used to populate the stores, which was an incredible experience that I don't even think I completely appreciated when I was in it, but so do now. I moved into furniture buying. I did lighting, curtains, rugs, so I really got to learn the product. I really dabbled in product design and learned about materiality, which was super helpful. But about 3-4 years in, I was getting the itch to do something more targeted to interior design and less about the product. So I decided to leave and start my own company, Michelle Gage Interiors, and it's been about 8 years now. Super excited. We have a team of 5, which includes my husband. He left his engineering job to join me in this venture, and we've never looked back. And then right behind our rug wall, we have even more samples. So these fabrics are larger, and specifically they tie back to the sofa that we have in the lounge. So these can all be applied to that sofa. They are inline fabrics for that vendor, and we often start here when coming up with a design of, okay, this is the sofa we want to do, this is the cushion configuration, and this is the color fabric. And actually that's a little deceitful because we usually start with the color and then work backwards. But these fabrics are performance fabrics. There's different patterns to them. So whether you want something that is a light yellow block print, or if you want maybe a blush velvet sofa, we've got tons of options. We can always do, you know, a fun print, something a little bit more palatable. There's some indoor-outdoor fabric here. So depending on how our clients live, if they allow their pets on their sofa, if they allow their kids on their sofa, there's a lot that we can do to make sure that that sofa is really going to last for them. So we have these all on these little S hooks, and we also customize the wood finish that goes on the leg for each piece. We will sometimes do that sitting right here at this second bistro table. We're a big fan of a bistro table here. And just play with those configurations. Oftentimes when we're designing, we need to see everything laid out. Sometimes it's on a table. Sometimes we still need help visualizing it, and we pin it up on these pin boards. So this pin board is actually featuring a current project of ours. So it is a project that we're doing out in the suburbs for a really lovely, easygoing client who has young kids and needs performance fabrics and likes pattern and color and has a fun flair for design. So we have that on display to kind of remind us as we're in the implementation phase what we are doing for her design that has already been approved. Okay, so I'm going to take you guys over to our desk area because while it would be a fun dream to imagine that we just play with samples all day, that is not the reality of interior design. So over here is our workstation setup. Everybody has their own desk. We're a team of 5. We have 6 desks, so we just have 1 spare for overflow. The operations side is over here facing the lounge. So my husband Alex mans all of our operations, our logistics, our bookkeeping, our coordinating with contractors, all of the stuff that makes the design happen, but isn't specifically picking selections. He sits here, and then I sit far opposite in the exact opposite corner because you need some separation, you need some autonomy. I sit back here on the design side. So myself and the designers are on the opposite side of the wall, and we're closest to the sample library. So we are able to quickly turn around and collaborate, grab a sample, have a quick chat about a design idea. So it keeps everybody working in their zone of genius and makes for a really collaborative environment when it has to be, and then more solo work time when that is what the tasks of the day call for. I think as a designer, my #1 go-to design tip, whether it is for clients coming to us or people embarking on designing their home on their own, is if you love it, buy it. and then you will find a place for it. There is nothing that haunts you more than the things that you don't buy. And especially when it comes to vintage items or one-of-a-kind items, artisan pieces, you know, if you're looking at works of art from a specific artist and you pass it up, they might not create that piece again. Or if you're at a flea market and you find a great vintage table and you want to think about it a little bit more, you might go back and it's gone. So my number one tip is if you absolutely love it, you'll find a space for it. You'll make it work. You'll make it work in the home. You'll find a way to include it. There is something so personal about design that, you know, the things you love just don't go out of style. So if you love something so much now, you're probably going to love it in 15 years. So I would just encourage everyone that if they're in a position to come across a piece that they absolutely love, just buy it and figure out how to make it work. I've done that a lot in my own home where I've loved something and I just didn't know exactly what room it would go into, but eventually when you find it, it's like, aha, that was always meant to be there. All right, let's head to the powder room and I will show you a really funky wallpaper that our whole office absolutely loves. Welcome to our powder room. So you saw a lot of white walls in our open office space, but we knew we needed to bring the mood and the drama into this powder room. So we included this really fun House of Hackney wallpaper. It is this really magical, dark, moody pattern that just like exudes everything that we wanted this like jewel box powder room to exude. We complemented it with some really fun oxblood painted trim, which is a little darker than we typically go in our designs, but we wanted to do something a little different here. We have a really fun sink that we custom designed. It's a marble sink, and again, the marble is meant to show our clients how marble wears over time, how marble reacts to different like staining and acid, as opposed to in the kitchen where we have quartz. So we designed this really fun backsplash. This is a Callista faucet. This faucet is an unlacquered brass. We love unlacquered brass. Most of our clients love unlacquered brass, but sometimes they're a little apprehensive because it does require some maintenance and it does wear over time. But again, this shows you how that looks. I think it wears really beautifully over time. And when you think about marble and unlacquered brass, like I think about cafes in Europe and materials that have really stood the test of time and get better with age. So we try to show that in a smaller dose here. We have a fun little linen light blue skirt to hide all of the stuff that a powder room needs, but in a beautiful way. And then a really cute little Turkish rug on the floor to bring in a little bit of that vintage that we love and pattern mixing. So these colors pull out from the wallpaper that we have applied, and it just makes for a sweet but small space and gives our clients an idea of like, okay, if you're a little scared of like a dark wallpaper, this is how it would look. Or if you're a little nervous about putting birds all over everything or, you know, exploded vines and florals, this is how beautiful it can look so that they can ease into that comfort and have it seen and experienced in real life and know what that's like. So we're super pumped to have this sweet little space to show off. There's a lot to love about this office. I think one of my favorite things, truthfully, is the location of it. We are in downtown Chestnut Hill, which has a lot of great restaurants, a lot of great shopping. So like we can bop out for a coffee if we don't use our own coffee station in our kitchen. We can go have lunch on a sunny day. It's just a beautiful environment to be in. I love that the building is older, stone, and covered in ivy. Like the ivy is absolutely gorgeous. I love that. I feel so much joy and so much pride walking into our courtyard every morning to think like, oh, this is where we get to come to work every day. Like this is where our team gets to create. This is what our clients get to see. It's so exciting for me that we have this great office space. The lounge where we're currently is one of my favorite spaces within the office because of this really bright, vibrant orchid sofa. But I'm told a lot that when people go into our powder room that they're often blown away by the wallpaper in there. And then speaking of spaces that encourage our clients to get excited about color and pattern, I'm going to take you to our conference room, which is that times a million more. So let's go. So this is our conference room. We are super psyched to have this space because we can close the door and have the office work be separate from the presentation work. So we are able to meet with clients here. We walk them through our design ideas. We have a TV set up where we can project everything that we're talking about, and then space for samples on the table. So right now we're currently in the design phase for a really fun project in the suburbs. We do a mix of projects out in the suburbs, in the city, and then we have a couple of long distance projects that we're working on as well. This one is really fun. It's for a fun young family. They love color, they love pattern. They're, really passionate about artisans and great materials and making the space just really livable and super functional for them and their family, which is always fun for us when we can get into those details of like how we can make a built-in like ultra functional for tall and small people living in the house, and how we can just use custom details to make their life more enjoyable. So in this project, we're working on the whole home, and we've got some really funky rugs that we're working with, as well as some artisan fabrics that we're incorporating, whether they're sofas, chairs, ottomans, or pillows. It's always fun for us to pair those patterns then with, a really great wallpaper. So this project is going to have a lot of built-ins, a lot of custom elements, a lot of really fun moments in the primary bathroom that we're excited about. So again, this is a place where we can share that excitement with our clients and show them everything that we're talking about. The technical drawings and the 3D renderings are on the TV screen, but the samples that, you can touch and feel and get a better feel for in person, you're able to see on display here. So when considering the design for this space, we wanted to keep in mind that we were going to have a lot of clients in this space, particularly a lot of presentations, but also with that, it had to mimic somewhat of a dining room because we did approach the studio as kind of being a home. So you've got your quote unquote dining table and chairs. Then we have these really fun chandeliers. We've got a set of them over the table. These are from Stray Dog Designs in South Carolina. They do really punchy designs, punchy colors. So they're a natural fit for this space. We have this really amazing wallpaper, which we chose to kind of speak to what's happening outside of our studio with really gorgeous greenery and ivy climbing up. So we chose this really fun floral from Abigail Borg, who is a UK-based surface designer. And a lot of what we choose is UK, fabrics, wallpaper, even fixtures. So it's fun to incorporate something that we use in client projects in our studio as well. We have a natural fiber rug underneath, again, so that you can kind of get a sense. We've got like the wool out in the lounge, and we've got some vintage in the sample library, but here you can see how a natural fiber rug wears over time. Often, one member of our team will be sitting here if they need, quiet time, laptop time. So this is a fun space where you can try out this chair and say, do you like the shape of this chair? Do you like how it sits? Do you like this teal fabric if you're a client? But then if you work here, you're able to have a comfy spot to just sit, rest up. If you need to put something on the TV screen, you absolutely can. And then I won't show you what's behind this curtain, but essentially this little nook acts as extra storage for us. At one point I had hopes and dreams of turning it into like a day bed where I could lounge with my dogs, but in reality we have a lot of stuff that we need to conceal and store. We keep cushions in here. So I mentioned how our sofa allows for different cushion configurations, and we keep all of those behind here with this great striped fabric covering that all up so that it is hidden away. In the corner of our conference room, we do have a little station set up for solo work. So whether you need to just kind of hunker down and get some work knocked out, close the door, be away from the collaboration of the team and just get to what you need to focus on, you can do so in this comfortable chair, which is also from a vendor that we offer to our client projects. So clients can see it when they're in this space, but our team can also work from here, throw something up on the TV if they need to. And then beside it, we have this Nick Miele piece, this photography that I just thought was super special and really cool for the room. It's this older gentleman in flamingo pants playing backgammon with his dog. We love dogs here. It's a big part of why we do what we do. So this is a really fun print to have popping against the wallpaper, which is something that we love to do in our designs. We have another piece here as well that is just really funky art against wallpaper. And again, this is meant to, be enjoyable for us, but also show clients how you can pair the two together. If you're thinking, oh, where would my amazing piece of art go if you put wallpaper on the wall? Like, can't we just paint? This is how we can pair things together, and we put that on display for them. Something else that we love to do in our designs is put a bold paint color on the trim to mimic what's going on in the coloring of the wallpaper. So for this space, we chose, I believe this is Knob Hill Sage, I think is the color, from Benjamin Moore, but pulled it out from the leaf in this beautiful Abigail Borg wallpaper, just for a little fun, a little zest, similar to what we did in the powder room, pulled out a fun color for the trim as opposed to just going white. In an office or a home, wherever you are, wherever you inhabit, which I have to say, like, we're in this office so many hours of the day, so many hours of the week, that I really do want it to feel like a home. I want our team to be comfortable here. I want to be excited about coming to work here. And I think one of the things that really helps with that is the layers and the different materials that you can mix, the different patterns that you can mix. We never want our projects, the homes we design or the offices we design for ourselves, to feel too regimented, too stuffy. We always want it to feel sophisticated but playful. And I think that that comes out in the patterns that we're choosing, the way we pair them with other elements of the design. That just always feels fun and fresh to me. So one of the reasons we decided to ultimately move our studio to this amazing location is because of the property itself. We love our old stone barn building. It has ivy climbing all up it, great old shutters. It just feels like you're in the English countryside. It's got a Cotswold vibe to it. We use this great big barn door to bring in deliveries. So whether it's furniture or rugs or lighting or packing items for a photo shoot, that door is a huge help to us. The other thing that is a massive help with all of the implementation and logistics is this bad boy, which is our new Sprinter van, which we have outfitted in an amazing floral pattern, which is unmistakable. If you see it on the road, you know it's us. We love having fun with color and pattern, and this van just is that. To me, home means comfort. It means a place to express yourself. It means a place that when you are there, you just feel completely in your own element. You feel safe. You feel understood. I think that's something that we try to bring into our client projects a lot, is like an understanding of who the homeowner is and what's important to them and what they value. I've done that in my own home. We do that for clients, and we've tried to do that in our studio as well, and show off where our values are, what pieces speak to us, what special moments we can touch upon that just act as the backdrop to everything that you do in life. Thank you so much, Homeworthy, for touring our office in Chestnut Hill, Philadelphia. We had a ton of fun showing you around, but we've got to get back to work, so you've got to go. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.